Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Continuing now with our grammar lessons, we are still looking at the ism and the different ways that asma can be categorized. So first, we looked at how an ism can either be ma'rifa or nakira. It can be definite or indefinite. And we learned that there are 6 different types of definite asma. An ism can be definite in 6 different ways. Then we looked at the categorization of asma according to, is it masculine or feminine? Is it mudhakkar or mu'annath? And we learned that al-mu'annath, the feminine ism, can be categorized or broken down into 2 types. Either mu'annath haqiqi, and that is an ism that is referring to something that is actually of the female gender in reality. Basically, a living being that of this species there are both males and females. And then the rest of words that are categorized as feminine in Arabic that don't qualify for that definition, they would be called mu'annath lafzi. They are mu'annath just from a linguistic standpoint, just by how we treat them in the grammar, but they don't actually refer to an entity that is feminine in reality. Today's lesson, we're going to look at a third way that we can categorize asma, and that is according to the number of entities that they refer to. So an ism can either be mufrad, singular, it can be muthanna in the dual case, or it can be jama, plural. So that's what we have written right here, the title of our lesson, al-mufrad, the singular, al-muthanna, the dual, wal-jama, and the plural. So now the author will give us some examples. Muslim, a Muslim, that is mufrad, singular. Muslimatun, a female Muslim. Kitabun, a book. Qalamun, a pen. Masjidun, a masjid. Madinatun, a city. Ka'sun, a glass, a drinking glass. Baytun, a house. Babun, a door. Shubbakun, a window. Ghurfatun, a room. All these are examples of asma, of isms that are mufrad. Each one of these refers to just one singular object, not a group of objects. Now, in the second category, we have al-muthanna, asma that are in the dual case. Muslimani. So here we have the word Muslim in the first category, a Muslim. Here we have Muslimani, that means 2 Muslims. So the way that the dual case is made is that an alif and then a noon with a kasra on the noon are placed at the end of the word. So same thing here, 1 female Muslim in Arabic is muslimatun. So if we wanted to say 2 female Muslims, then we say muslimatani. So always the way you make that muthanna, the dual case, is just by adding an alif and a noon with a kasra on the noon. And then in certain cases, this alif will change into a ya. So if we had muslimaini, that is also in the dual case. And the reason that that happens is to indicate the grammatical role that it's playing in the sentence, as we will learn in future lessons. But the simple thing for now is adding an alif and a noon at the end of a mufrad, a singular word, will turn that word into a dual case, referring to 2 objects. Muslimani, 2 Muslims. Muslimatani, 2 female Muslims. Kitabani, 2 books. Qalamani, 2 pens. Masjidani, 2 masjids. Hadani, these two things. So this is the muthanna from the word hada. We learned before hada is a ismul ishara, a noun of pointing. Simply it means this. So when we say hadani, it means these two things. Imamani, two imams. Waladani, two boys or two sons. Bintani, two girls or two daughters. The word walad, depending on the context, can sometimes mean just boy, or it can mean a son. And same thing with bint. Sometimes they use bint to mean a daughter, and sometimes they just use it to mean a girl, because every girl is somebody's daughter, every boy is somebody's son. Now, for the third category, we have al-jam', the plural case. And as we mentioned before, in Arabic, the plural case is 3 or more. So we have 3 cases in the Arabic language according to the number of entities that word refers to. Al-mufrad, 1 entity. Al-muthanna, 2 entities. Al-jam' is 3 or more entities. Muslimun, Muslims. Muslimat, female Muslims. So Muslimun is the jam' from Muslim, the plural that is mudhakkar. It is masculine in nature. But something that's important to realize in Arabic also is that Muslimun, even though it means male Muslims, it can include in that group female Muslims as well. So when you say Muslimun, you could intend by that male Muslims, or you could intend by that just Muslims in general. But the feminine, Muslimat, will always refer to just a group of women. Every single person in that group is women. But when you say Muslimun, it could just mean a group of Muslims. Some of them are male and some of them are feminine. Because as we mentioned before, generally in Arabic, the male case, the masculine case, is the default. And we only change from masculine to feminine when it's really necessary to make a distinction. Another thing as well, since Muslimun can be used to mean men and women that are Muslims, one way you know that it's meaning just men is if it comes with Muslimat as well. So if somebody says al-Muslimun, generally they just mean the Muslims. But if they say al-Muslimun wal-Muslimat, then in that case when they said Muslimun, they're referring to only men, and when they said Muslimat, obviously as we said, this is only referring to women. So the way that this plural is made here is just by adding a waw and a noon at the end. And that's a very specific type of plural. There's different types of jam', there's different types of plural in Arabic. One type of plural, which we will discuss more at the end of this lesson, the details of that, is the sound male plural, and that is made just by adding the waw and the noon at the end of a word. So like to make the dual case, an alif and a noon with a kasra is added at the end of the word. In this situation, to make a plural, the waw and a noon with a fatha is added at the end of the word. That's one type of plural, but there's several different types of plurals. Here, for Muslimat, the sound plural that is feminine, and that is made by adding the alif and a ta at the end of the word. So Muslim or Muslima becomes Muslimat. Here we have the same thing. Salihun wa salihat. Righteous men. Salih means to be righteous. So the mufrad from this word is salih. To the plural now becomes salihun. And then the feminine plural is salihat. Again, similar. Qanitun wal qanitat. So qanitun and qanitat, the singular of that is qanit, and comes from the word kunut. Like in the witr prayer, for example, you have the prayer, the dua of kunut. Kunut has several meanings in the Arabic language. It can mean to be obedient, to be steadfast. It can also mean to be standing in prayer. It has several different meanings. It comes in Quran in several different places. يا مريم اقنتي لربك واسجدي واركعي مع الراكعين. So the same thing here. We have the male plural made by adding the waw and the noon, and the sound feminine plural by adding the alif and the ta. And the reason it's called as-salim or sound or free from defect is because another way that plurals are made, as we'll see, is by changing the structure of the word itself. So a word where the actual structure of the word is kept the same, and the only thing that's made different is adding a waw and a noon at the end, or a alif and a ta at the end to make it feminine. That's called salim, because you're not actually changing the word, you're just adding to it. But a word that is the actual structure of the word is changed to make it plural is called al-jam al-taksir or al-jam al-muqassar, the broken plural, as we will see shortly. راكعون وراكعات. راكع means the person that does ruku'. So راكعون, the men who do ruku', and راكعات, the women who do ruku'. خاشعون وخاشعات. Those men who have that fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially in the prayer, such that shows on their limbs in the way that they stand in front of Allah. وَخَاشِعَات, the feminine plural from that. ذَاكِرُون, those that remember, the men who remember, meaning remember Allah. وَذَاكِرَات, the women who remember. سَاجِدُون, the men who prostrate. وَسَاجِدَات, and the women who prostrate. All of those examples up to this point were either the sound male plural or the sound feminine plural. Now we're going to start looking at some broken plurals. Kutub. This is the plural of kitab. So kitab is book, kutub is books. How did we make this plural? We didn't say kitabun, we didn't say kitabat. Instead, we dropped the alif that was in kitab, and then we changed the harakat to these dhammas here. So the actual structure of the word was changed to make a plural, and that's why it's called al-jam al-mukassar, or the broken plural. Similar to that is aqlam. Aqlam is the plural of qalam. So qalam is pen, aqlam is pens. And the patterns for plurals are there's many of them, but it's a limited number. So you'll start to see certain patterns for plurals coming over and over and over again. So kutub is on the pattern fu'ul. Here aqlam is on the pattern af'al. And this pattern af'al is one of the most common patterns for plurals. Maybe it's the most common pattern. So many words will come on this pattern, such that almost if you're not sure of the plural of the word, if you just have to guess, this is your best guess, is to follow this pattern, this af'al pattern. Hajarun, stone, ahjar, stones. Hulum, dream, ahlam, dreams. So many words come on this pattern. Masajidu. Masajidu. This is the plural of masjid. So masjid, one masjid. Masajidu is masjids. And this is also a very important pattern. Mafa'il, it has certain rules that go along with it that we'll learn in an upcoming lesson. Rijalun. Rijalun. Men. So this is the plural of rajul. Rajul is a man. Rijal is men. Nisa'un. This means women. And this is kind of a peculiar word, because there's not actually a singular from this word. So when you want to speak about one woman, you just say imra'a, as we learned previously. But to say a group of women, you say nisa. So this is kind of an exceptional case where the plural isn't made from the singular. We have one word referring to the singular and a totally different word to indicate the plural of that same thing. But this is an exception. This is not the usual way in Arabic. The usual way in Arabic is that we have one word to mean the singular, and then we change that word either by adding a waw and a noon, or an alif and a ta, or by changing the actual structure within the word to mean the plural. But nisa here, meaning women, is an exception from that case. Aqfalun. Here is the plural of quflun. Qufl means lock, and aqfal then meaning locks. So Allah mentions in Quran, He says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Don't they reflect on the Quran, or do they have locks upon their hearts that are preventing them from thinking and reflecting? Here, duwalun, on the pattern fu'alun. Duwalun is the plural of dawla. So dawla means a state or a nation, and duwal is the plural, nations. Fulk means ships. This is also kind of a strange word because fulk in essence is a plural meaning ships, but sometimes it's used for the singular to mean just one ship, and it's used in Quran like that. Al fulk al mashhun. Kilab is the plural of kelb. So kelb is a dog, kilab is dog. So once again, all these are examples of al-jam al-mukassar, where we break the form of the word to make the plural. We take it apart and reconstruct it in a different way. Ahdiyatun. Here, ahdiyatun is the plural of hidha, meaning shoe. So ahdiya is shoes. Masabihu. Masabih is lanterns. The plural of misbah. And masabih is also a very important pattern. Mafa'il, it has the same rules of this pattern of masajid. So we'll learn about in the future. Mafa'il and mafa'il are two important plural patterns that have special rules that go for those patterns. Arjulun is the plural of rijl. So we learned earlier that rijl means foot. Arjul is feet. Mafatihu. This is the plural of miftah. So miftah means key. Mafatihu means keys. And this once again is on that same plural, if you notice that similar sound, of masabih. Masabihu, mafatihu. Mafa'ilu, mafa'ilu. So as I said, there's a limited amount of patterns for making plurals, and you'll start to see them over and over and over again until you start to get used to them, and then when you see it, you'll know, oh, this is a plural pattern. Sufun is the plural of safina. So safina means a ship. Sufun means ships. Miyah is the plural of ma. So ma means water. Al-ma with a hamza at the end. Here, miyahun means waters. So here, he'll explain what we just went over. Al-awwalu mufradun. The first category is the mufrad, those words that are singular. Wathani muthanna. The second category is the dual case. Wathalithu jam'un. And the third category is jam', plural. فالمفرد ما دل على واحد. So the mufrad is what indicates واحد, one thing. والمثنى ما دل على اثنين بزيادة ألف ونون. And the muthanna, the dual case, it is what refers to two things, اثنين, بزيادة, with the adding of an alif and a noon. أو يا ونون, or a ya and a noon. And it's not that you make the feminine by adding an alif or a noon, an alif and a noon, or a ya and a noon. You make the muthanna by adding an alif and a noon, but in certain cases, because of the role that word is playing in the sentence, that alif will change to a ya. And we'll learn that in an upcoming lesson. وَالْجَمْعُ مَا دَلَّ عَلَى أَكْثَرَ مِنَ اثْنَيْنِ. And the plural, al-jam', is what indicates أكثر, more, من اثنين, than two. وينقسم, and it's broken up, into سالم ومكسر. It can be either salim, that which is made by adding a waw and a noon in the case of the masculine words, al-mudhakkar, or by a alif and a ta in the case of al-mu'annith, the feminine case. والسالم لمذكر ومؤنث. And the salim والسالم لمذكر ومؤنث. And the sound plural is for male and feminine, just indicating, as I just said, that there's one version for way of making it for words that are mudhakkar, that are masculine, and one way of making it for words that are mu'annath, feminine. وجمع المذكر السالم ما لحق آخره واو ونون. The jam al-mudhakkar al-salim, the male sound plural, is what has added to the end of it a waw and a noon, أو ياء ونون, or a ya and a nun, as we learned. وجمع المؤنث السالم, and the feminine sound plural, ما لحق آخره ألف وتاء, is what is added to the end of it an alif and a ta. وجمع التكسير ما تغير بناء واحده. And the broken plural is that which the actual structure of the singular from it was changed to indicate the plural.